What is the creator economy and why should you care? And how does TikTok factor into the explosive growth and popularity of creators? Is TikTok the engine driving the creator economy, or is the platform the beneficiary of delivering the right experience at the right time? To find out, on today's edition of Everything is Better with Creators, we're going straight to the source. We'll be talking with TikTok's Khartoon Weiss and Adrienne Lahens. Khartoon is TikTok's global head of agency and accounts, while Adrienne is the global head of operations for TikTok Creator Marketing Solutions. I'm Jamie Goodfriend, your guide to all things happening in the creator economy. Every week, myself or my colleagues, Emma Harmon and Ashley Rudder, will be hosting this podcast. Together, we're going to explore why this is a unique moment in time, one in which the world, media, and human behavior are all changing. And TikTok, well, they're right at the center of everything. While often called a social network, TikTok is really an entertainment platform where communities are forming around an incredibly diverse range of content creators. On this episode, Khartoon and Adrienne are going to help us understand how we got here and where we're going. We're also going to hear why brands should embrace TikTok and what kinds of opportunities it gives them to connect with passionate communities of like-minded users. And who doesn't love clean talk? So you can learn how to clean your washing machine. I know I do. That's a lot to cover, so roll the intro, please.
Everything is Better with Creators, the podcast that takes a deep dive into all things creator economy. Produced and presented by Whalar. Whalar, we power the creator economy. With your hosts Ashley Rudder, Emma Harmon, Jamie Goodfriend, and Marco Bertozzi.
I am the creator. And this is fresh.
I am here with Khartoon Weiss and Adrienne Lahens, who are thought leaders extraordinaire in the creator economy space. And we're going to do a masterclass on how to learn, understand, and become the preeminent expert on the creator economy. Before we get into this, I like to do a hot start. Can you guys share with our audience either what comes up on your For You page or the last thing you bought because of TikTok? So let's start with you, Adrienne. What's on your page?
Definitely a lot of comedy. Also really like the real estate content, legal hacks. The grandfluencers of TikTok are definitely some of my favorite. I love the old gays. And Harry Mack. I don't know if you guys know Harry Mack Official, but he's probably one of my favorite creators right now. He's someone who does like these freestyle raps. He comes up with like 3-minute full like freestyle raps just off the top of his head. He asks for people in the audience to like give him like just 3 words, and he just goes completely off the top of his head. And it's just really amazing, like very in the moment. So definitely love like all of the diversity in the content on TikTok.
Khartoon?
Very true to Adrienne's For You feed. I love comedy. I'm not funny, but I love to laugh. But then I'll take this a different place. So outside of cat videos, because I'm a crazy cat lady, I'm also a New Yorker, and I've never actually stuck my hands in the ground or in grass in my life. And so I'm very learning oriented. And so I've been flooded in my For You feed with a lot of landscaping content, a lot of renovation content, a lot of basically education or edutainment. So I'm learning actively on TikTok how to basically improve my life.
I think that's a good metaphor, growth and getting your hands dirty. I don't know. I feel like that's a theme. And we'll come back to that personally because I find that fascinating. It's one of those crazy demonstrations of the algorithm because my friends and I, when we get together, we say, okay, what's on your feed right now? And it shows the personality, whether you like it or not. Because I get like dog agility and iPhone hacks and quick recipes. I mean, it's incredible what everybody gets that you didn't know you needed, but you love. So aside from being, content experts and helping us find new creators, which is amazing, can you explain what the two of you do? I know you both have different jobs. You're at different ends of the spectrum. Khartoon, you're talking to some of the biggest brands in the world and helping them navigate this crazy creator economy. And Adrienne, you are the creator whisperer. Could you guys take a turn at telling us what you do?
Sure. I'll jump in on this one. So I have the great honor to sit across the table from the world's biggest agencies and the world's biggest brands. And in essence, what we're doing is trying to help connect them to the next generation of their buyers. So we are actively at work developing strategic partnerships that help traject these businesses into the 21st century of marketing and really celebrate the new digital media behaviors. And that comes with a learning and an education of a new platform and a paradigm shift that's much more around unlearning what we think we know about marketing and translating that to the next generation's new digital habits. And so I get to sit across the table and problem solve every day because nobody has the answers. We're not running a playbook here. We are definitely writing our way through the next generation and Alpha and Z that are really teaching us how communication patterns have changed. And so we do that by way of creator. And that's where Adrienne and I partner really closely to make sure that these brands and agencies understand that they have consultants in creators and take them as vehicles to connect more closely with the next community.
I love how you said that Gen Z and Alphas are teaching brands or showing them how to communicate in this new world. How can you help articulate that so brands who are listening to this go, oh yeah, let me pivot and think that way?
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have spent our entire careers as marketers building brand powerhouses, guidelines, matching luggage, things that can distribute in a controlled and effective manner. Now, all of that still holds true. The difference becomes that we do not need to package everything for the marketplace anymore, that we actually can take assets over ads and turn them into strong communication vehicles. So what we try to teach our partners, agency and brands, when we're trying to unlearn what we know is you have all these elements that, we tend to just kind of shove it all into a TVC or shove it all into a social post or shove it all. And it's just like, there are these beautiful elements like the sound of your business, the color of your business, the tone of your brand's personality. And how can you take those assets and distribute them a little bit more broadly in a much more forgiving way on the platform? And so what we're trying to help them unlearn is that there are so many incredible brand building assets that you have access to. If you're a manufacturer of hardware, like what does it sound like when you click? Or if you're a manufacturer of detergents, what does it feel like when you have something that's become more clean? If you spend time on Clean Talk, you know what I mean. And so what we do is we start to break down the barriers of, I don't know how to learn this new language. It's actually, you have to unlearn packaging everything together and start to learn that your assets are incredibly powerful and can actually be scaled. And people like to know the story behind the story. So our creator community and our community at large appreciate much more so, about 2/3 of our community appreciate much more so when brands tell them where they're coming from, where they're sourcing things, how they're connecting into the community a bit better and the planet as well. So if you take those assets and distribute them as storytelling assets, now all of a sudden we've got marketing at scale with the same things that we've always used that we've packaged and distributed as single pieces. So it's a really interesting way to try to teach them how to unlearn what they've already learned.
Your brand is already being talked about on the platform. And so how you can really lean into that conversation, really be participatory in that conversation, like tap into the creators that are already talking about your brand and really leveraging that and not being so afraid to, get it like so perfect. Because the truth is that the authenticity is really what drives ultimate business outcomes. In fact, 71% of viewers on TikTok say that they purchased from a brand because of a creator's authenticity. So trying not to be so prescriptive in your creative brief or being so prescriptive in the way that you approach marketing on TikTok is so important as well. And I think a really good example of this is like EOS, in February, a TikTok creator by the name of Carly Joy went viral for, talking about the EOS shave cream in a really authentic and very colorful way, let's just say.
Yes, it was colorful.
Very colorful, right? She's a real girl's girl and she just like let it all out. And that video went so viral. I mean, they saw a 25x increase in their typical order volume They saw a 450 times increase in site traffic, almost crashed their site. It might not have been like totally on brand, right? But it was so incredibly effective, and they just leaned into it, being part of the conversation, letting the creators do their thing because they know what works. They've built audiences within these communities. They know how to talk and engage with their own audience and their own communities so effectively. And that's really the power of the platform at the end of the day.
So if I'm going to sum up the two parts of what you guys said together, I think, brands for the last however many 50 years have had what I'll call it a content supply chain, just like a product supply chain. And they have a process like a conveyor belt, as I said before, about making content. And it's really scary to do things differently. And as you said, the brand is already out on TikTok, which is a lack of control, but it's also not what people think. It's not the Wild West. It's not negative. And I think that's the power of that comes from, you guys tell me, the community part of this. And that's something that I think is the next evolution of this conversation, is the power of community. So for example, there's a creator posting about, today's my worst day ever. And the community jumped in and was talking with the creator. It was like their ride or die. It became a whole conversation. And I think when we talk to brands, what we're trying to help them understand is it's the brand in partnership with the creator, in partnership with the community. And that's a new collection. And it's the community that also makes things scale. The creator is the leader or the curator of the community. They're the ones who support it. And the creator feels accountable to the community. So they're building this, they've earned this relationship. And yet it's the community that can then make things go viral to whatever degree that matters. But they're buying. And because they trust the creators. And I think that whole circle is a completely different supply chain than what most brands are used to. Talk about unlearning. We have a great stat from this research we just did that 67% of communities buy products based on what other community members are recommending. That's the word of mouth at scale that I know you guys talk about.
When it comes to the brands and interaction with the community, so just to throw one more stat in there, like 73% of our users feel deeper connections to brands that they get to interact with. And what I love about that stat is it's a proof point by way of engagement. So we've all talked about engagement, but engagement has truly come to fruition on TikTok. And what I mean by that is that brands are participating their way through problems with creators in the community now. Your product can participate its way through the problem. So I've seen something, here's how it has useful, meaningful impact on my life with a creator demonstration. And as a result of that, here's how my life has been enriched or been made better. And the brand and that interactivity that I have with the brand is why 73% of our users have much higher affinity and deeper connections, as we've seen in some of our own research, that connection is now happening. Brands, creator, and the community are participating their way through problems. And it's unique and it's beautiful to see it happen at scale because it is authentic when it is real. And all the brands and products and services that have ever been created are genuinely created to enrich and improve lives. And TikTok is allowing that efficacy to come to life on platform. And so much so, everybody feels more connected to the businesses. And that is something that is native to TikTok, and we could not celebrate it more. And it gives brands the runway to be equal to creators because they can show up just like anyone else on the platform that Adrienne is helping us curate. So it's really stunning what's happening right now.
That's a mind blower. And the way you said it was great about participating in the problem solving. I love that. Gen Z and Alpha, but Gen Z, who are the primary ones right now, we have thoughts about this. But why do you think that audience is responding so strongly? What is it about Gen Z that's different than previous generations that this is really resonating?
People are tribal by nature. People are communal by nature. We are naturally pack animals. And so the psych major in me sits there and says, we always want to be doing things together. That's why FOMO exists. That's why lines outside of stores exist for drops and products that are coming. And so what we're seeing is that this generation just now has the technology to enable that primal behavior. So when you look at product on TikTok like duetting, when you look at product like stitching, when you look at some of our most recently launched product like branded missions, where we ask the community to engage back with us, either creator or brand, what we're really starting to do is we're allowing people to do traditional human primal behavior, which is engage with each other. And we're all builders. And so what we get to do is build upon each other's thinking and thoughts. And I lovingly feel like TikTok is Soul Train, where everybody has the same equipment, but you walk down the aisle a very particular different way. It's amazing. And so that's all that we're doing is the technology is enabling human behavior. And that's what's so sticky. That's what's so obvious at its scale.
You speak in great sound bites, Khartoon. That's friggin' genius. That just blew me away. We talk about operating in the culture, not the category, right? And I think you just unpacked it in such a specific way. But, from a practical thing, right? So I love that you're a psych major, and you're right, that's a human fundamental characteristic. But then you've got these large brands that need to scale and operationalize. They've got to figure out how to do this in a business-like way, and I don't see them sitting around kumbaya. Let's participate, right? It's like they might think it in their heart, but they can't do it functionally. So they look for ways to put things into boxes that they understand. And one of the things, for example, we'll switch and go to a little bit more tactical, follower count. And there has been a lot of discussion about follower count as a metric. I think is really misleading. We have a lot of clients that are looking at follower counts, and then they see someone who might have smaller follower count, like 300,000 followers, get insane engagement. And yet they're looking for creators that have 1 million followers. And that number seems very arbitrary. What are you hearing, seeing, and how does that metric resonate or not resonate?
Certainly brands are seeing great success working with creators who have 10,000 followers, 100,000 followers, all the way up to the millions of followers as well. And the way that you could package creators together as part of a broader campaign is typically really effective. So typically having a creator who might have, 1 million followers, but then packaging it up with creators who can really tap into such a diversity of different communities on the platform. Because the thing about TikTok too is the way that you want your brand to connect and show up on the platform, you want it to really be authentic and be able to connect with different, cultures and subcultures. And in order to do that, working with creators who tap into those communities really effectively. And oftentimes, they might have, 100,000, 300,000 followers, but that's really meaningful because they have, cultivated these connections that, are really engaging, and they spark a lot of conversation.
I was just having this debate yesterday with a very large marketer. Literally, we were sparring, and he was just like, I need to increase my follower count. I said, I need to ask you why. I need to ask you why. I need to understand why you're bringing a social media expectation to an entertainment platform. We are not a social media app. Follower count is very indicative of social behavior. The algorithm is a content algorithm. It is not a social graph. And so what we need to pay attention to is what are the business objectives that we're trying to drive for our brands and even for our creators, because our creators are small businesses in themselves. Our creators are sitting there building my brand, my following. So we have to be very much respectful of this two-way marketplace that we're creating, both brand and creator. And that doesn't revolve around follower count because the algorithm doesn't revolve around social following. The social graph is the previous social platform approach, which we're actually effective this week, starting to see shift, interestingly. And so, everybody's moving towards an entertainment graph because the content is king. So to Adrienne's point, 10,000 followers or 10 million followers, it doesn't matter if the content isn't good. And if your cadence isn't such that you understand the community, your follower count is not relevant necessary. So we try to anchor it from the business side. We anchor it to the business objectives. What are the business objectives you're trying to drive? How does follower count contribute to that, but not be the only single North Star? And then how do we actually help shift your perceptions and unlearn follower count and learn content graph and the fact that your content needs to be important. It will drive much more relationship, net new users, acquisition, brand love and awareness. It'll drive metrics that are very different when your content is important meaningful, useful, entertaining, educational over a follower count, which is really just about hijacking other people's impressions. So we want to make sure that we're driving around the business objective when we think about that.
That's incredibly helpful to hear you say that, because, of course, this is an entertainment platform in the way that Gen Z views entertainment, which is not how previous generations viewed entertainment, because we can. When, I think sort of after the whole Apple world changed, algorithms prioritize engagement, and communities are what we see. It's like the tip of the iceberg. That's what we see above the water. When the algorithm sees volume and sees the engagement, it pops. And then it pops in the discovery. It pops in people talking about it. And so that's why, kind of bringing this back full circle, you have to make content that people are excited about, and then it's natural, as opposed to buying attention, which is what we've all come from, an industry that we've spent many, many years perfecting this ability to find a woman 25 to 54. I've got shampoo. I'm going to tell her from an actress's standpoint that it's going to make you perfect. You may feel bad, you may feel good, and then I got to hope that it's going to resonate with you when you go to the store.
What we have to do is challenge each other's conventions, because if we don't, our next audiences will. And so we just need to learn. We take a very bottoms-up approach in how we learn and how we build product. It is reflective and reflexive of the people that we are able to distribute, right? We're just distributing their stories. We're distributing their connections. We're distributing their communities. We have to look and represent the audiences that give us the gift of their time. And so it's a bottoms up build. It's not a top down. We know what we should be doing, and we're right. And TikTok knows everything. We are very honoring and respectful of our community and our creator community. We want to make sure that we're able to technologically enable what the new communication digital channels look like. And so it's just a lot of fun to be able to be the powering technology source behind it, but the community really makes the differentiation and makes it special. That doesn't work in the old world anymore.
There's a lot of conversations going on in brands where it's either the CFO saying, well, what's our TikTok strategy? Or it's the CMO saying, I don't know, I don't want to take a risk, or I want to do this. There's so many different ways of doing it. It's funny, when we were in Cannes, we talked to Dave Jorgensen, who's the Washington Post TikTok guy. That's what he calls himself. And he said that the way he got the Washington Post to accept TikTok was he went to Marty Behrens, who's the editor at the time. So what are your recommendations for people listening? Is there like a playbook to help people get on like the test and learn, how do I do this? I'm not trying to take money from TV. What's your recommendation?
People are coming to TikTok to be entertained, right? They're coming to be inspired. They're coming to discover something new. Creators are certainly the backbone of all of that. And TikTok makes it really easy for anyone to become a creator. There's so many, tools and features within the app that make it really easy for anyone to kind of come on board and tell their story and tell it in a way that is really unique and engaging. And creators are taking storytelling to a whole new level. But brands are, certainly playing a really big role in that too, right? Like people come to TikTok and they want to engage with the brands that they know and love. I think TikTok made me buy it. That trend, right, certainly is a great representation of communities and audiences coming together to really purchase products that they discover for the first time from a creator. So really collapsing that marketing funnel, right, where you hear a product for the first time, immediately, press the purchase button. So creator marketing has certainly, proven its effectiveness as a full funnel strategy as well.
We beg people to just jump in and just start to engage with the community. This is the most forgiving platform you will ever encounter. And it is one that longs for brands to try to be more real, be more authentic, and demonstrate useful purpose. And so as we think about Dave Jorgensen, he has been a poster child for the platform for such a long time, because he is really just showing the work behind the work, the people behind the people. And that's all everybody wants to know. So we recommend that brands be themselves. We are asking them to lean into people, lean into the communities, and really start to think about, what is it that is making your product and service more meaningful and relevant to others. And so that becomes your audience base. We have a ton of women on TikTok that are having really authentic conversations. We have grandfluencers, as Adrienne mentioned earlier, that is like, here's this community of people that are just starting to bring much more rich perspective and depth to the platform. And that's the older population. And we've got the happy middle of people that are teaching us how to live better lives, or things I didn't learn until I was in my 30s. There is just gardening for me, landscaping, and literally it has changed my life. And so if brands can just jump in, start paying attention to the conversations, start learning the language of the community, jump in on trends, and start to understand why people feel the way they do about the conversations they're having, how they communicate with each other. We are starting to, in essence, lower that creative barrier and lower any apprehensions they have for getting perfect packaged marketing, and really just start to be the meaningful products and service providers that they always set out to be. So that's really just what we beg them is just come on in. It's okay. Like, we are forgiving. You'll be fine here. Don't worry. And we're here to hold your hand, and so is the creator community.
And our final minutes, I know you guys have to go back to ruling the world and changing the world for good. What are some takeaways that people who are listening could really think about doing to change their business and to really jump on TikTok?
I love to try to help brands and agencies be successful on the platform. So 3 things I would highly recommend you do. First and foremost, be a marketer, but act like a creator. Please act like a creator. Start to make sure that you are speaking the language of the community and get in the game. Second thing that I would highly recommend you do is understand the phenomenon that is happening of content into commerce and start looking at TikTok made me buy it. That will hopefully eventually turn into TikTok made me watch it, TikTok made me learn it, TikTok made me do a lot of things. It's a marketing platform that makes people actually do something, which is the original goal of marketing. And then the last thing I would say you do is please welcome the creator community into your worlds, and please welcome creator directors in addition to your creative directors, and start allowing other people to tell your brands and product stories. It will only make your marketing that much more effective, meaningful, and start to be able to help speak the language of the next generation of your buyers.
Amazing. Well, this has been a masterclass. Thank you both for spending time with us. And this has been really great.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
We hope you've enjoyed what you've heard and will come along with us as we navigate this journey to the promised land of the creator economy. Make sure to subscribe or follow our show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, or wherever you like to listen to audio. And of course, we'd love a rating and review if you get the opportunity. Special thanks to Khartoon, Weiss, and Adrienne Lahens for joining us. Make sure to check out more from Whalar and all things at the intersection of a talent network, brand partnerships, technology, and creativity at whalar.com. And follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn. For Everything is Better with Creators, I'm Jamie Goodfriend. We'll catch you next time.
Everything is Better with Creators is produced by Whalar. Whalar, we power the creator economy. Learn more at whalar.com.